Morning, folks. Wednesday, April 2nd, it should be. Got a little bit of a late start this morning. Been dealing with a few issues. Last night we got, it's kind of a quirky thing, really. Last night we got an inquiry for the unit up in Tuscaloosa. And it was an inquiry from one of the online travel agencies. It was VRBO. We call them OTAs. That's the category for Booking.com, Verbo, Airbnb, HomeAway, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Overall category gets called OTAs for those that aren't aware. It stands for online travel agencies. We ended up getting a booking inquiry through Verbo for the house up in Tuscaloosa, and something quirky is going on with the message where when I log in, we use Guesty for Pros uh, as our property management software, and we use that so that we can keep all of our calendars organized, and so that we have a single dashboard that kind of controls all of our guest communication, um, pricing, marketing, copy, photos, etc. It's like the main repository that we have all of our data in. And so uh, what's supposed to happen is we get an inquiry, all of the information, even though it came from an outside source like Verbo or Airbnb or whatever the case may be, it's supposed to pop up in our inbox as if we were operating inside the environment where the inquiry came from. And it's supposed to be seamless. You're supposed to be able to see the message and all that kind of stuff. This is a bit of a weird case because I do still have access to the dashboards and the inboxes on all of those OTA platforms. Um, but in this inquiry specifically, the message from the guest didn't show up. So for some reason, we do have instant booking turned on. And so, as long as it's a couple of days into the future, you could literally go find some days that you like, confirm the pricing, tell us how many people are coming, and click, yeah, book it instantly. I don't have to talk to you. But, some guests have questions that they need answered before they're ready to click that book button. And so they have the ability to send you a message with questions and all that other kind of stuff. And so in this case, I can see that they have sent me a message because I can see the message preview um, on the Verbo inbox summary. I can't see the message preview inside of Guesty, which was strange. So I logged into Verbo dashboard and said, okay, let me figure out what's going on. And I can see the message preview, but when I click on the actual message to see what's going on or what they've actually asked, there is no message displayed. So we've got some sort of software quirk going on there. And I spent a half hour or so with the support teams of both Verbo and Guesty, trying to figure out where this message has gone, or what the content of the message is. I don't care where the message is. I just need to know what it is so that I can respond to it. So we got everybody working on that this morning. That's the main culprit for us getting a little bit of a late start, dropping the kids off to school this morning. But also found some more issues with the pool yesterday. Seemed to be some software bugs, and our pool installer ended up getting on the phone with their Jandy rep. We've got Jandy equipment, Jandy, and we're happy enough with it in terms of functionality, but we'd sure like it to work more often. And so, just described the issues, and the owner of the pool installer said, well, it sounds like we might need to do a flash update, software update on the app and the hardware that actually controls, sending the signals via Wi-Fi to our phones and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, that's great. And so come to find out that does appear to have been the issue. We were operating on an old, I'm assuming it's a firmware. They called it a flash update, but I'm assuming it's a firmware update. Um, and my dad and I were asking him, we were like, okay, well, what's the deal? How do we get these updates? And why is it not happening automatically? They said, well, it sounds like, sometimes the modules, the Wi-Fi modules sit on in the warehouse for, a certain period of time, and they might be on the old firmware. It's like, yeah, I get it. That's pretty normal. But generally speaking, when you install new Wi-Fi hardware into a system, the first thing you do is check for firmware updates. So, we're a little perturbed, I guess, that's not part of the install process. It seems silly to me that it's not. But, fingers crossed, we are finally out of the woods on all of these pool headaches and stuff. It's been a tumultuous, call it 5 days, and I am ready to be over and done with uh, pool heating issues. So, anyways, that's the Wednesday update for you. I've been promising, some kind of snippets and tidbits out of the book Yourself Solid book by Michael Port. And I've been kind of listening to audiobook on Audible, kind of coming and going when I'm not doing one of these catching up on the Causeway episodes. And what I'm finding is the content is so dense that it's hard to get a ton out of it, while you're driving down the road. Which is good. But it just means that I've got to be a little bit more concerted in my efforts on when I listen to it, and actually physically following along in the exercises. There's a workbook that I had, you know, provided my contact information for, and they said they sent it, but I haven't found it in my inbox. So I'm gonna try to resend that so that I can follow along in the workbook, because it seems like every other sentence he's saying, you know, exercise 2.3.4, do you know describe your ideal customer in 4 bullet points. It's like, all right, well, I can think about that in my mind, but I can't really do that while I'm driving down the road. And so I kind of have to just, you know, put that stuff in my mind. But then, you know, a sentence later, he's like, exercise 2.3.5. Describe your, describe the customer that's the opposite. It's like, all right, well, I'm still thinking about the last one. Give me a little bit of time here. And every now and then he gives you a couple. He gives you some asides about stories of how it's worked in his company and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the time to kind of catch your breath and be like, okay, all right, now I'm tracking with him. Anyways, it's a very dense book. Gonna have to rethink how I am physically trying to follow along there, and then maybe from there I'll be able to get y'all some tidbits and tips and stuff that I pick up along the way. But that's your Wednesday update. Happy to have y'all here. If y'all have got any questions for me, don't hesitate to put them down there in the comments. Would love to get some activity in the comments section there. Um, that does all sorts of things for the YouTube algorithm for displaying videos for people. So appreciate y'all. We will catch y'all tomorrow, hopefully. See ya.